Settle down and listen to the sounds of the singers in Choristers Lounge. There's plenty of things to talk about, so sit down, so sit down, so sit down at the lounge.
To our YouTube audience, I want to welcome you all in to another episode of the Choristers Lounge. We're spending a little time here in the Singers Corner of the Choristers Lounge. And for our YouTube audience, just want to thank you all for being part of our journey so far. Just want to continue to ask you to like, share, and subscribe the channel. Today we have an interview with a singer who has set herself apart set herself in the canon of some of the great singers in the history of Church of God and Saints of Christ. If you all recall, our first interview, like one-on-one interview, we interviewed Saint Elaine Smith, and Saint Elaine talked about a time when she was nominated as one of the great singers in the kingdom, and she said she was up against a few other singers, and one of those singers was the one and only Saint Rhoda Wilson-Jackson. And we are honored to have Saint Rhoda here with us today. You know, this is musical royalty within Church of God and Saints of Christ. Saint Rhoda, glad to have you today. And thank you so much for agreeing just to spend a little time with us here in the Choristers Lounge. So just to get us started, my first question for you is just in the early, I guess, the infancy of your singing journey, when and where were you appointed to the choir, and who appointed you to the choir?
Bishop H.Z. Plummer appointed me to the choir in Chicago, Illinois. He came to visit in Chicago. He came to Chicago in 1933 when the World's Fair was there. I was a little girl, of course, and then but I was singing still. And when he came back again, I was a little older, of course, and he chose me. And my mother used to sing first soprano, and I was sitting on the end, and of course I wanted to sing like my mother. And when he came back again, I guess I had grown so fast. And then he chose me and Mary Wilson at that time. That's my niece, to travel with the Belleville Court. So we went to Virginia, and he told other people also to come, which one was Earl McGuinn and some other Sheba Griffin and myself. I know there was others too, but most of them lived in Belleville.
Yes,
most
ma'am.
of the singers, and we would go down there in the summertime and stay and practice. Some of the other singers, Caleb Garris.
Yes, ma'am.
And Junior Spivey, and
Thomas Stevenson.
Thomas Stevenson was the director. My sister Drusilla was one of the best singers, I say, that I knew, because she could sing tenor, baritone, alto, and soprano, lyric, and bass.
So she was versatile. Yeah.
A lot of them was good, just like she was. But this I give to Drusilla Wilson and what's the director's name? Stevenson. Thomas Stevenson. They could do that. Nobody else could do all four.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so that takes me to my next question. In addition to Elder Stevenson, who were some of the memorable choir directors that you recall throughout the course of your journey?
Drusilla, again, a choir director. She was a good choir director. And Elder Stevenson, I said him. And Joe Wilson was a choir director only in Chicago.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but he was a director, tall, handsome guy.
Yes, ma'am. Now, Saint Rhoda, of course, kind of considering your musical journey, as far as the Belleville Choir and within Church of God Saints of Christ, we know, and we'll get into a little bit of that. But did you have any musical influences outside of the congregation that helped to kind of shape, your musical journey? Any singers that really impressed you outside the congregation?
Lentine Price, the opera singer.
Yes, ma'am.
Lentine Price, black lady, beautiful voice, high C. Lentine Price and Marian Anderson. Those were my two in the Church of God and Saints of Christ. I'm sorry, outside
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
Church of God and Saints of Christ. And I wanted to sing like them. And I do have one inside. You'll ask me that later.
Yeah, we'll go right there. Who's the influence inside the congregation?
Saint Beatrice Plummer. Saint Beatrice Plummer. I wanted to sing like her so bad until I thought I looked like her because she was beautiful.
Yes, man.
And I talked to her and I asked her when I was much young, when I would go to the Passover, I would say, I want to sing like you. And I thought she had the same spirit, not the same spirit, but the same power as her husband, because that was her husband. And I thought if she said yes, it was just like him saying yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And she said, she put a hand on me. I can feel it right now. And she said, do you really love singing? I'll say, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She said, you really want to sing? Yes, ma'am. I said, I want to sing just like you. She said, well, just keep on trying. You will. And the second Passover, I went after that because I sang all during the year, and I'm trying to sing like her in Chicago. And I went to the Passover, and the bishop said, you are the closest thing to be. You sound the closest to be. And what did he say that for?
Yes, ma'am. Because it was true. That's why he said it.
He didn't say nothing about the looks. I thought I was pretty like she was too. And I would be singing. And I said, well, I must look like her if I sound like her. But that's who my main in the Church of God and Saints of Christ was. Nobody could beat her singing. And I tried, and I almost came up to it.
My Lord, my Lord. So let me ask you this, Saint Rose. So you already kind of gave us a little bit about how it was that you came to sing with the Belleville a cappella choir. So you said that Bishop H.Z. Plummer came to Chicago and selected you from
In
Chicago?
Chicago, he selected to be in the chorus, right?
Yes, ma'am.
He selected me and Sheba Griffin and told us to come to Belleville. At least he sent for us to come to Belleville to practice during the summer when we would go around on the bus from different places in the South to sing, to raise money for the taxes for Belleville. And it was prejudice, of course. We couldn't use the bathrooms, couldn't go in the hotels or anything. We'd sleep on the bus and cover up on the bus and hungry and eat bologna. I never knew bologna tastes that good. Bologna all the way there and all the way back if you could get it. And we did a lot of sacrificing, but Lord have mercy, it was worth it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What was that an unusual thing for Bishop H.Z. Plummer to select you all, not being members of the Belleville Tabernacle to sing with the Belleville Chorus, or did he do that with other singers as
The
well?
ones that he chose, like Earl McGuinn, and
Mm-hmm.
as far as I know, most of the singers lived in Belleville, most of them. And I
Yes, ma'am.
know Sheba
Mm-hmm.
Griffin, and I remember Sheba Griffin, myself, and that is the only people that I know that he went around. Oh, I can't think of any because most of them lived there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I only bring up that point because that was something that I just learned myself. I had always assumed that you, Saint Rhoda, were actually in Belleville, not realizing that you were singing as a part of the chorus and your membership was somewhere other than Belleville, which says a lot about your talent. It says about a lot about Rabbi or Bishop Plummer's eye and ear for talent as well, knowing whom to select, out of all the singers throughout the entire kingdom. So that says a
Right.
lot. That says a lot about you. So the follow-up question to that, was there ever a moment or a time when, Saint Rhoda, you were like, you know what, I love, or when exactly did you fall in love with singing?
When did I fall in love with singing?
Yes, ma'am.
I fell in love with singing when I used to hear my mother and father sing together, bass and soprano. And I would hear that all the time in Chicago. And before I was born, they used to sing in vaudeville. You know what vaudeville is? On the street.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
They used to sing bass and sing love songs and things and make money. And that's when I wanted to sing like my mother.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Until I met St. Beatrice, and then I don't know who to put first, but I tell you, St. Beatrice, she had it. And
Yes,
then, of
ma'am.
course, I wanted to get in and stay in the Church of God and Saints of Christ because I thought that would be part of the would keep me there is to sing like her.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So specifically, when we think about the choir and how the choir has evolved, how do you see the choir as having evolved throughout your time as a singer in the congregation?
One, I guess you mean this one thing we don't sing the older songs anymore. Those songs that have a testimony in it, a meaning in it, all. And we have gotten to the place. I don't mean they don't sing any, but they've gotten to the place that most of the songs that the directors direct is what the younger people know, and they only know those late songs, that they don't know the old ones. And I guess maybe the ones that's teaching them can't don't know some of them themselves because they're young too. They're young too. But those old songs had a testimony and it had a sermon in each song almost. So that's the difference I see. And if the young people was taught those songs, maybe they would live a little different because maybe they would live according to the songs.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So
We supposed to be altogether different than the world. They supposed like in the military. If they look at us, we should look strange to them. We can't look like the world, and we be in the world but not of the world.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so, what words, and you again, you've already alluded to this a little bit as well, Saint Rhoda. What words of encouragement would you have for this generation of singers, and what words of encouragement would you have for this generation of choristers as well?
Of the singers and the choristers,
Yes, ma'am.
if the singers and the choristers would take up those old songs that I just finished saying, try to learn those old songs. See if you can find them. If there's anybody living that can give them to you, unless they're in a book. And I think they would really, really enjoy it. It would mean a lot more than a bounce song. I mean, not bounce song, but something to give a lot of spirit. We need that too. We need that too. But fret not thyself because of evildoers, for they shall soon be cut off. So many songs that would help them to live a better life, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And
And
then,
the courses, and all the courses are young too. And if the courses would try to learn some of those older songs, some of those old songs, and then some of the old people that's still in the tabernacle would really enjoy that too,
yes,
because
ma'am.
that's all they know.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Yes,
I'm not finding no fault of it. I'm glad for all of them. I'm not finding no fault. No,
yes,
they're
ma'am.
doing what they can do. They're doing their best, and I see it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And just I have two more questions for you, but I wanted to double back just a little bit. What can you tell me about the Chicago choir of your youth? The Chicago choir of your youth. What can you tell me about them? Was that when Evangelist Taylor,
Right.
the pastor? Well, what can you tell me about the Chicago
That,
choir, the Chicago Tabernacle when you were coming up?
yeah, he was my father-in-law once upon a time. I was raised, you didn't ask about him. He raised he was the father, so to speak, of everybody in the tabernacle.
Yes, ma'am.
He took care of the whole tabernacle during the Depression. You wouldn't get put out of your house and he had plenty of food, always down in the basement in the dirt. You know, they had dirt basements. That's what kept the food. You didn't ask me all of this, but anyway, you just take your basket and go shopping over his house because couldn't have food otherwise. Sometime for so many children, because we had 14 in our family.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
you know, we were eating all the time, but we never got hungry. Never went without shoes, never went without anything because of Evangelist Taylor.
Mm.
And Evangelist Taylor lived the life that he taught. If he did anything else, he was real slick. So if he did anything else, we didn't see it. Mm-mm. So,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
everybody wanted to be like him. And I think they came out pretty good, pretty good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talk to me a little bit about the Chicago choir. I know you mentioned about your mother being first soprano. And you said brother Joe Wilson was the chorister.
Yes.
Okay.
All of my brothers, I had 7, and all but one, all was choristers once upon a time. And in Chicago, everybody got a chance to do whatever they could do. And Evangelist Taylor would teach them what to do during the holy days. That's
Mm.
what we use that extra hour for in between that watch hour. Teaching you what to do in church and how to do it. Shaking the shepherd stick, leading the choir, singing, so you wouldn't go to sleep. You know, you wasn't supposed to go to sleep on that hour. And that's what the hour was used for, teaching about the Church of God and Saints of Christ and everything, you know, to go on in there. So we didn't have any excuse. You didn't have any excuse to smoke and drink and all. You didn't have the excuse.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, if
Yes,
you
ma'am.
did those things and they were wrong, because he taught it, and if it was wrong, then you would need some money, some change during the week. So you couldn't do those things if you're going to go and beg. So he was a light. He raised everybody
Yes,
in
ma'am.
the church.
Absolutely,
And you
absolutely.
asked me something about my mother singing the soprano. Well, I told you that though,
Yeah,
I think.
yes, ma'am. And that's what actually kind of created that question in my mind, just to ask a little bit more about the Chicago choir. So that was perfect. That was perfect,
Mm-hmm.
Saint Rhoda. So kind of before we kind of close out, considering your musical journey, Saint Rhoda, what do you want, or what do you consider your legacy as a singer to be? What do you consider your legacy as a singer is?
To try and put in as much time as you can for God in the church, because one day, if I'm 101 years old now, every day is nothing come more across my mind than, did I do it right? Did I do what I was supposed to do? Did I help here and there? And that, if I had to say no to most of those things, I would be in bad shape mentally. But I can say I did what I could. I followed, but I know I wasn't perfect. Of course, a lot of those things, if it's left up to God, I'd probably be going to wherever somewhere a long time ago, because I did a lot wrong. But I think I did more right than wrong. I think my good overbalanced my bad. And that's what he asked.
Yes, ma'am.
And obey your leader. This Rabbi McNeil
Yes,
is
ma'am.
one of the best leaders there are. And he's leading, of course, for this day. You're not asked me for this sermon, but I have to say something about him.
Yes, ma'am.
And he has respect for everybody. He don't leave nobody out, nobody. If you can do anything, you can do it right here now. We have in church for half hour church on Sabbath, and we used to have for 10 hours.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how in the world you can't get there on time? You didn't ask me all that.
It's all right.
Lord have mercy.
That's
Because half an hour is half over when you get there. Oh. But anyway, what's the question now?
No, you answered that perfectly. You answered it perfectly. And the question was, what did you want your legacy to be? You know, what do you think your legacy? And I can tell you, Saint Rhoda, that your legacy is a legacy of excellence. If I just had to put your legacy into one word, it's a legacy of excellence. And those of us that are in this younger generation, we certainly look up to individuals like you who have paved the way, you know, for a musical legacy that we want to do our best to uphold. So I just thank you for that legacy of excellence and giving that to us. And hopefully we're going to walk worthy of that legacy as we move forward. And
As
just
he give you breath, you give back with that
yes, ma'am.
breath as he's loaning you. Give back. You don't have to have it.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have to let you have it.
Yes, ma'am.
Pray
Yes,
and helping your brothers and sisters. Anyway, Rabbi Mike Neal is in my book.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I want to make sure that those of us that are listening in the YouTube audience, we didn't just miss what Saint Rhoda just said. Saint Rhoda, since you just mentioned it, how old did you say that you were?
You can't remember? Something's wrong with you.
I think I heard 101. Did I hear that?
That's right. 101, right.
My Lord, my Lord. So that means you did
Thank
a
the
lot
Lord.
right. That's what that means. That means you did a lot right.
If the word is the clue, you can find the tune. Song Association.
All right, YouTube audience. So we're now going to jump into our song association game with Saint Rhoda. So I'm going to give Saint Rhoda 3 words, and we're going to see what songs come out of her mind after hearing these words. So Saint Rhoda, the first word that I have for you is Jerusalem. What song comes to mind when you hear the word Jerusalem?
Last night I laid sleeping. There came a dream so fair. Is that the one?
That's the one. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think that's the Holy City. The Holy
The
City.
Holy City.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. So let's go on to the second word. The second word that I have for you is the word meeting. When I say the word meeting, what song comes to mind? Meeting.
There's a great camp meeting in the wilderness. How I long to be there too. There's a great camp meeting in the wilderness. Oh, I long to go.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. All right, say Rhoda, you're 2 for 2. You're 2 for 2. So for this third one, if I give you the word lamb, what song comes to mind?
King Jesus lit the camp by the waterside to see the little children when they truly baptized. Honor unto the dying Lamb.
Lord, Saint Rhoda, God bless you. That's all I can say. That's all. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. That was beautiful.
You
But
say you
I'm
say God selected me?
yes, he did.
I wish you will.
Listen, say Rhoda, we're going to behave. We're going to behave ourselves here
I
in this
didn't say
Choristers
that.
Lounge.
One more song?
Or anything that's on your heart.
Okay. If I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody they are traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I travel along, then my living, you don't need the other verse, shall not be in
vain. YouTube audience, we have just heard from musical royalty in Church of God and Saints of Christ in the person of Saint Rhoda Wilson-Jackson. Saint Rhoda, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today, for sharing your experience, for sharing your journey, for sharing your knowledge, for giving us those words of encouragement. And my prayer is that the good Lord continue to bless and to keep you for as long as he chooses to do so. But I thank you so much for just spending a little time with us. YouTube audience, my name again is Matthew Caldwell. Please like, subscribe, and share all the good news, every good thing that you heard today. Share, tell somebody. And thank you so much for being part of the journey. And with that, we'll bid you a good evening, and we're looking forward to welcome you again into the next episode of the Choristers Lounge. God bless and keep you is my prayer.
I want to thank you for choosing me.
Oh,
thank
absolutely.
you so much for choosing me.
Yes, man. We had to.
It was an honor to be on here today.
We had to, Saint Rhoda. We absolutely had to. You know, we may have to bring you back one of these days too, because I know we just tip, and it was just what they say, the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there was so much more that we could share. So we may have to do this again. But again, thank you so much for the time. YouTube audience, we appreciate you being part of the journey. I'm looking forward to welcoming you again into another episode of the Choristers Lounge. God bless you.
Anytime, just let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Saint Rhoda. Thank you.
Isn't she lovely? Yeah. The famous, the glamorous, the glorious, Miss, the fabulous, gotta add that in here, Miss Rhoda Wilson-Jackson.
She's now singing for her closest family and friends. And even though she's performed on some of the biggest stages, tonight's celebration is overwhelming.
I almost fainted. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. For anybody to take all their time and look what they did for me.
When
walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, it's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll got your seatbelt on. All night in my head, God sprinkled with the midnight dew. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. Oh, come along, children, and be baptized. A mighty pretty setting by the waterside. Honor, honor unto the dying
She was unable to be here, but she wanted to let you know that she appreciates everything you've done for the community. And here is your key.
And when we say key, it's an actual key, y'all. This is from Mayor Daryl Steinberg.
Wow.
To you. Can I read that?
Which bank does it open?
Which bank does it open?
That's my grandma.
If God bless you to get 100 years old and healthy, that's the main thing. You need, everybody, I think, if God wants you to, of course, can live as long. My father told me you can live as long as you want to live.
All right, yes.
And there's rules to living. And it's like it is in everything else. And if you want to live, you'll have to follow the rules. Now, if you get off base, and you don't follow the rules, what you expect? Then you get the lumbago and the backache and the knee ache and all this stuff. So treat your body and I can say this because I did it, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I don't think as healthy as I am. Treat your body like you do your new car. If you have a new car, you don't even let dust get on it, hardly. And you will not put anything bad and cheap, you won't put inside of it. You don't put it inside because you want that car to stand up and take you, and so you can be proud of your car and you don't have to buy another car. So if you want your body to take care of you, and your body has to take care of you, so you can walk and talk and not have pains and taking 50,000 medicines. If you want to, then don't eat the thing. My dad said, don't eat anything white. If it's white, make sure you put it in the toaster or wherever and under the flame and make it, because there's not any substance hardly in the white. That's why if you eat a white potato, it's better to leave the skin on there, wash it real good, and eat the potato, because that's where the substance is on the outside. So it's so many things, but the main thing is your health. And then you want to take care of other things too. If you want to live a long time and be healthy, you don't have a lot of women, you have a woman. You don't have a lot of men, but you have a man a lot, but you don't have a lot of men.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, Rhoda!
We know the key to unity of all people.
I feel good. I feel good. I feel like about 65 years old. And I am enjoying myself. Oh, I'm having a good time. And I'm glad they're praising me, and I'm alive. Alive and well.
He's getting his daughter now.
A lot of people can't get it before they leave here. But thank the Lord, I can hear it now. Keep God first and put the right thing in your stomach to keep you going, to keep you living, and treat everybody like you want to be treated.
She's little girl by the waterside to see the little children when they truly baptized. Little girl by the waterside to see the little children when